everything here. Mike Hall's here, he's an owner, I've gotten to know him really well, gotten to know Tony really well. Tony Swantek, who's gonna take the stage mostly, but thanks for coming. There's a lot of people in this room that have made a lot of money. There's a lot of people that should start to make a lot of money. So it's a unique situation that's gonna last a while longer. Tony's got some new products that are coming out at Jorns that probably gonna make a few guys in here a few $1 million, besides what we've already made. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'll let Mike come up and then I just want to say thanks for coming.
Thank you. And so I'm not really going to speak too much today. I mean, if you guys have questions or whatever, I'm here to chat. I'm going to turn the floor over to somebody that, like I said, we've known each other for 20 plus years. He was really the mastermind behind this project. He was the one who formulated the team. He's the COO of the company as well. So all the operations, the past 2 weeks, because of all the urgency that's happened, it's been pretty impressive what our company has been able to do. Literally hundreds of employees, and he's the one that had been directing all of that. And so, he flew in here as well to be here to meet you guys and just kind of talk about, the ERC, also some of the projects that our company is going to be focusing on here in the near future. This is just the beginning of what we've been creating. And so, for those of you that are just, here for the first time as well, there's still plenty of opportunity. So I'll turn the floor over to Tony to go through some information for you guys. And we appreciate you guys coming out.
There you go. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for sharing your time with us. And those of you that have been bringing clients that have believed in what we're doing, we can't tell you how excited we are to continue that relationship. Something that's always been important to me when I start companies, I really ask 3 questions. Will it add value to the clients? The first question. I have to check that box off. And I don't think every company does that. I'm sure we've all bought something from China that broke the next day or something like that. So, but my philosophy is, hey, make sure we're adding value to that client, because I'd like to be able to go back to that client over and over and over again if I can continue to add value. The second question is, can we add value to the sales force, the people that are bringing the clients? I am part of the sales force as well, even though I'm on the operations side, which I'd rather not be. I started the company, really, Justin and I'm a bit of a ready, fire, aim entrepreneur. So we had built, as Mike said, we built a restaurant delivery service. It was an Inc. 500 company in 2020. And our plan, when we started that business, was what would DoorDash want to buy? What would Uber or Amazon want to buy? You begin with the end in mind with most companies, and we did exit for millions of dollars, a third of the business, and then we merged with Delivery.com. And Justin being our CPA, Justin and I went to kindergarten together. So they say you should trust your CPA. I was like, well, let me find somebody I grew up with. And he and I talked about the ERC program on June 30th. Of 2021. On July 1st, we started the company. Now, he'd been a CPA for 15, 20 years at that time, so we had his name behind it, and our mission was, we call it ACE, A-C-C-E, because I can't spell it, threw an extra C in there, but it's accuracy, compliance, communication, and efficiency. And I told Justin, I said, we'll never sacrifice the accuracy and compliance to speed files through the finish line. We'll always make sure we're crossing the T's, dotting the I's to the best of our ability, filing in good faith. Our tax attorneys, we have more tax attorneys on staff as W-2s than we do CPAs, because the nature of this business. As those of you that have been around for a while, you've seen the IRS and the government move the goalpost several times, and so you need tax attorneys to help navigate as they change the rules mid-game. Which it is what it is. That's kind of how the government can do things, and so we don't make the rules, we have to play by them. I'll kind of move on from our ERC. What I can tell you guys about that is keep bringing it. We're gonna keep filing. So until the law changes, we do things by the book. We do things in good faith. We feel like, hey, here's the law that we're following. Until the Senate passes it and the president signs it, we're gonna act according to the current laws that are in place. So we'll file if you bring us clients. The sooner they get us their documents, the better. In January, I commended our team. I've got to figure out, we're going to bonus them. We're going to do some different things for them. But our salaried employees worked overtime. I don't know if you know how that works, but they don't get paid overtime, right? And they volunteered to work overtime in January. I don't know how many hours they put in, but we filed over $350 million worth of ERC in January alone. So, It was a Herculean effort by our employees, by our tax attorneys, our CPAs. Justin probably didn't sleep, man. I don't know when you found a time to sleep.
slept in days.
Yeah. I mean, he and our filing
I mean, I
attorneys.
used to work for CPA firms, and your salary, your work like 80 plus hours, right? per
Right.
week. And I don't, it's just crazy.
This is better pay.
This is better.
Being the owner. So for ERC, that's kind of what I'll leave you guys with is let's keep moving. Let's keep filing. But there's other opportunities. And when I say add value to the clients, first and foremost, the second thing is add value to the sales force. Third is add value to the employees and the contractors that help us service the clients and support the sales staff. When I say add value to the sales staff, what I mean by that is if you bring us a client for something, anything, ERC, SETC, the Self-Employed Tax Credit Program, that client is tied to you and linked to you, and we'll pay you forever. For anything we offer that person, for anything we market to that person, we won't market anything without your permission. We don't do that because we're getting ready to offer tax filing. However, a ton of our agencies are CPA firms and accounting firms, so what kind of move would it be to go to a bunch of their clients and go, hey, we'll do your taxes? We would never, ever do that. You'll never see advertisements for Jorns. If you ever do, let us know, because legal will take it down. We don't pay for advertising. You'll never see, mass emails or anything like that. It's not allowed.
We don't want famous actors on TV like.
Yeah. I don't need Captain America saying, hey, go to Jorns. Like, you're not going to see a Super Bowl ad. We tell our clients about us through agencies, through people, word of mouth. It's all word of mouth. And I started out in the sales side, and then ended up, we just grew so fast. My first 60 days, I'd made phone calls. I got through about halfway through the letter E in my phone. And I just had to go to the ops side and haven't been on the sales side since, which I prefer to be selling. Jorns is at a point now, we have close to 500 on staff with our ICs and employees, and we've got really good execs. Like our C-level, our C-suite is very strong, minus the COO and the CEO. We're a little rough around the edges, but everybody else in the C-suite is pretty strong. Justin and I bring them down a little bit, but they're strong enough to a point where we can start focusing on some of the other programs. Are you guys familiar with the self-employed tax credit at all? SETC? Some of you are. So anyone that was self-employed, anyone that paid self-employment tax, that's going to be your 1099s, real estate agents, insurance, Uber drivers, anybody that owned an LLC that was not an S corp. If they got a pass-through Schedule K, they can get up to $32,220 in a fully refundable tax credit. Like 18 to 20 million. With self-employed, you probably got about 80 million potentials out there, give or take, that could get some money back. So that's a big program that we already have companies that are doing very well as agencies, bringing us clients for that. The next program we're focusing on, I'm just finalizing software on it, is the research and development tax credit. Is anyone here familiar with the R&D tax credit? Not hardly any. Okay, nobody. 1981 is when the research and development tax credit was created, and it was constantly being reinstated, basically. So it would have an end date, like 1984 or whatever, and then Congress would say, let's push it again for another few years. And they push it again and push it again. Back then, it was lab coats and clipboards, right? Like if you really think about research and development, it was pharmaceutical, defense, Lockheed Martin, right? Like they're going to get that type of credit, and that's about it. As that credit has matured, a couple things have happened. In 2015, the PATH Act made it permanent. So Congress doesn't have to continue to just, which is kind of smart, right? As a country, you probably want to foster innovation to compete with the world and try and incentivize companies to invest and get better technologically or, growing, if you're in the farming space, agricultural, can you get more bushels per acre, things like that. So they've incentivized that innovation and they've broadened it. So we're going to claim R&D at Jorns because of the amount of money we spend on software to try and improve efficiencies within our company. That's a technological spend, and anything we spend on there. And the employees, some of the employees that we brought in there, a percentage of their time that was spent in there, that can create a tax credit as well. So even if I grab, which one of our department heads for doc prep, I brought him into software, probably more than half of his time was spent helping in software because he kind of had doc prep work and flow on its own. So if they spend 80% or more of their time in a specific R&D area, 100% of their salary is eligible for a credit. ICs are eligible for this credit. So we have one IC that kind of heads up our software a lot. That IC pretty much, I would be able to offset a lot of his payout for his 1099 with these R&D credits. The average ERC client would yield about $465,000 in credit. Average client about 27 employees, give or take, and we get about $460,000, $450,000. The average R&D client at this point, it would yield about $100,000. So let's just say it would take you 4.5, 5 years to equal the same payout. The cool thing about R&D is it's never ending. The PATH Act just made that the case in 2015. So imagine having 100 clients that you make $5,000 a year on. So you're making $500,000 a year, whether you get out of bed or not. Because by year one is tough, and it's not tough. It's tough on us as an accounting firm for sure, but it's tougher on the client. And it's not tough on the client necessarily because of the rules. It's tough because they haven't set themselves up to track the data. And so during year one, we're getting all the data from them and what employee worked on what, how many hours did they work on it, and it's just tougher to track. What we do year one is basically say, hey, let's implement some things, use some software, some tools that can assist you. So then by next year, instead of us taking 5.5, 6.5, 7 hours with your team, we take an hour and a half, and we're done. And your credit's ready to go. So it's almost like the first year is kind of building that foundation for them. And then year two, for as long as they're in business, we're just, hey, rinse and repeat over and over and over. And you're getting your commission, again, in perpetuity. That's how I add value to salespeople. How many companies, I mean, we probably all have worked with companies where you bring clients in and then like 2 years later they change their commissions, change their comps, so like, we're not gonna pay anybody anymore. It's like, we don't do that. And if you look at some of the people we've worked with, Mike, myself, a lot of our network is 20 plus years. Because we always try and probably be more than fair when we compensate. I mean, even with our employees, we paid over $6 million in just the end of the year bonuses to 7 or 8 people, I think, something like that. Like people that really went above and beyond and did a lot for the company. We made sure that they were rewarded accordingly, and that was money basically as owners that was out of our pocket to do that because I thought it was the right thing to do. Mike actually increased it. I was like, here's what I'm thinking. He's like, why don't we give him more? I was like, all right, man, I'll take it out of your cut. It's easy for me to make that decision. I was like, sure. How much more? We'll give it all years away. So R&D will be coming. We've had a few pilot clients already. That's why I kind of have an idea of where we'll fall. But I've got 2 companies that we'll be probably working with for their software. I think eventually, and they know this, we'll build our own software. But some of them, just the training that they'll bring in and their own employees that they have that can help us as we overflow potentially. We want to make sure we honor accuracy, compliance, communication, and efficiency. And so we want to make sure we can handle all the R&D clients that you can bring. What we'll do with R&D, and give me a couple weeks on this, but we're creating a new CRM that everyone will have access to where you can see your clients and what states they're in, because there's certain states that give you R&D credits on top of federal. So we'll kind of give you the soft targets, the low-hanging fruit. We'll tell you what industries: manufacturing, software, agricultural, pharma, medical. Any, common sense would tell you if they're spending money on hard sciences, we're in play. Marketing is not a hard science, right? It's not physics, it's not tech, it's not something like that. Technology would be a hard science. Chemistry would be a hard science. Agricultural, they're figuring out how to, combine different, strands of a bean and grow it better in cold weather, whatever that is. That's textbook R&D. Manufacturing facilities. Accounting firms that are using software to try and enhance the customer experience, to try and enhance our CRM, that falls into research and development. So,
Like IT.
for sure, IT, security, all that stuff's wheelhouse. Restaurants, a lot tougher. Not that they couldn't fall in there, but you'd have to kind of wind your way into the gray to do that versus a manufacturing facility. It's like, this is a laydown. Aerospace, you'd have to go smaller. You know, companies like Boeing, they have probably 40 or 50 employees that their whole job is to maximize their R&D credits. That's literally, that's all they do is W-2. So they have whole accounting teams that do that. So what I call our tier 1 employers, you know, the 50,000 employees, 20,000 employees, they're probably not your target because they probably already have an internal team handling all their R&D. But you'd be surprised at how many companies that have 5,000, 10,000 employees are not taking advantage of R&D, and it is substantial. And you make an override off their R&D every single year. Now, certainly our wheelhouse, 500 to 500 employees, almost none of those clients are taking advantage of R&D like they should be. So it's a huge marketplace. So our goal over the next few weeks is to get you guys into CRM, kind of your low-hanging fruit list, the soft target list, where it's like, all right, you brought us this many clients for ERC, here's the ones that would be ideal. And if you didn't bring us clients for ERC, or you're brand new to the table, that's fine. We've got little flyers and things that show you this is the industry, like this is who you're looking for, these are the states that are gonna be better. All 50 states you can do R&D. So it doesn't matter what state they're in, they can do it. But if you got a client in California and they're gonna get an extra 20% in R&D and your commission's based on what they get, bring California companies. And you know, so we'll kind of give you, hey, here's the industries, here's the states. That's kind of the next phases for Jorns. So we've got ERC, we're still going. There is uncertainty. There really is. And I set the expectation with the client. Hey, I wouldn't doubt it. You know, like this might be too late, but it's going to take you an hour or two of work. Our team, it might take us 50 to 100 hours because we'll have several different people. There might be 100 different employees that touch your file on the way through. If they all work half an hour on your file, that's 50 hours of work from our team. So we'll spend a lot more time than you need to. And if we're okay and we get through, you get all that money. If we're wrong, I think we've got a case to file suit and say, hey, you owe us that money. And if you wait and hesitate and Joe Biden signs a bill that ends it on March 1st and you were messing around and not giving us your stuff, then it's definitely game over if you try and file on March 2nd if the law changes. So, do you have a question?
On R&D credits, is that something that we go out and we're talking to our clients about, or is that something you guys are?
So you're, with R&D, it's really a peak and a pass for now. Like, there's a little questionnaire we'll have you get filled out, and just say, listen, I don't know if you qualify for this or not, but I work with one of the larger specialty accounting firms in the tax credit space on the planet. Their tax attorneys, their CPAs can review some of your information and see if you might qualify.
Is there an upfront fee for that?
No, it'll be free for them to come in, free for them to get the study done, and then we'll tell them, after we do the study, once we see, hey, they're gonna qualify, we will charge, I don't know if we'll charge full up front. I think we're gonna try, because that's the other thing that sucks with ERC is you're waiting on the back end. So we're gonna try and charge on the front end for R&D.
Because I imagine most of these companies don't know if they qualify either, so I'm gonna be like, hey, you know, I've got
Yeah.
400 to 500.
Get us the
I don't know.
information, give us the information, and that's what I'm saying, kind of, I get myself out of the way on R&D. I'm like, listen, just fill out the info, let's let their tax attorneys figure it out.
Because I have dairy farmers in Texas that we have in ERC, and
Dairy farmers will be laid out, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, agriculture is easy, as long as they're doing some research, you know, how do they get more gallons per cow, things like that. They should be doing that if they're a good dairy farm. They're constantly trying to research better ways to feed their cattle, better ways to get more dairy per cow. So yeah, agriculture is a great industry for R&D. So yeah, ERC, keep firing, but set a good expectation for your client. Let them know, listen, the law is potentially changing in the next few weeks. So if you come in, get your stuff in.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So we're talking to a client that we've had a relationship with, talking about R&D client, credits. Is there something like, per how many employees you have, how potentially how much money you could be earning? Is there a correlation?
It depends, not necessarily. It all depends on how many employees are working in R&D, right? You bring me a pharma company, they're gonna have a whole department that's just straight R&D, right? Now they're gonna have, they'll have their sales, right? We're not gonna be able to get a piece of any of their sales employees' salaries or commissions or anything like that. But you go farm and they go, yeah, these 42 people work on researching new drugs and combinations and all that. It's like, all right, let's go after these 42 people, see how much you paid them. Now we know what your credit's gonna be. So that's what we're looking for. You're literally going to a company with 1,000 employees and going, all right, you got 72 of them that are in your R&D department. That's the only ones we care about. The rest of them are irrelevant. So that's why I say it just depends. There's other industries where it's like 90% of their companies in R&D, versus 10% of their companies. So, you could have smaller employee counts and more credit if everybody's focused on R&D or bigger salaries. So ERC, keep firing. SETC, keep firing. We'll get you guys the videos and everything. Self-employment tax credit, that's a numbers game, that's a contact sport. R&D, give me a few weeks on it. We were starting that, and then when this bill, potentially was going into the House, we took every resource we had. We even took SETC resources. Some of our SETC filings are just sitting there. We'll get them through, but we let clients know, hey, we have a deadline we're trying to beat. And so we just moved almost every resource we had at the operations side and moved into the ERC for all of us, right? And like I said, our team did a stellar job. With tax filing, I'll get with you guys on that as well. Probably no one in this room would use us for that type of filing. I'll just tell you flat out. Like, this is kind of your H&R Block type client that we're looking for. So we would go to the employers, right? The big employers that you guys help bring in for ERC, and we would say, hey, would you like to offer a service to your employees where we have an accounting firm that will do all their taxes for them? So those basic 1040 easy stuff like that, just a bunch of W-2s, easy money. We'll go in, we'll grab all their employees, we'll do their taxes, and you'll get an override on every single one of them. So the section 129 healthcare, I do want to mention that. Are you guys familiar with that at all, the wellness plans? Section 1? Yeah. So we've been trying to find one that our legal and our outside counsel would sign off on. I think I finally found one. There. Took a buyout and his partners launched it. He goes, the reason I left and never launched it, he goes, it was not compliant. And he goes, and it's still not compliant. And so I'm talking to this guy, and what he's creating, this is brand new, is it's actually it's MVC is what it's called, like minimum viable coverage health insurance.
It's preventative care.
Yeah, and it'll stand alone.
Correct.
Like Jorns could just say, listen, we're going to get rid of our insurance, we're just going to use this program as our regular health insurance for all of our employees. However, it's also built to stack. So we could keep our own health insurance and then utilize this MVC coverage. And because it's actual insurance, it's not some wellness plan. Like these wellness programs, like, oh, if you just do yoga in the morning, it's a FICA offset. And the IRS is going, no, it's not. They're also going, oh, you just have to get an email in your inbox from our company, and it's a FICA offset. And the IRS is going, no, it's not. Now, if you've got actual health insurance, that will be a FICA offset. So we're working with them. They're developing their marketing materials now. But if all goes well, that's a program that you could be earning $10, $15 per employee per month in perpetuity. Some of them maybe $5. The other thing is these guys tag on life insurance as well into the program, so you can get some big upfront rips onto it. The process quicker. Go ahead.
I just want to say thanks for everyone coming. Tony, thanks for everything. These guys are awesome.
Amen.
The more you need, the more we'll help you with, and these guys know how to make money. They're money makers, and so stick to the program, and there's a lot to do the next 6 months.
Yeah, we want to look at, like I said, every relationship we build, we want it to be long-term. We want to be working with you guys for the rest of our lives. My exit strategy and Mike's exit strategy when we started the delivery business was what would Uber be interested in, what would DoorDash be interested in. When we started Jorns, my exit strategy is death. And so that's how I'll end up stopping the work with Jorns, because I realize what Jorns is. It's not an ERC.
People love past your death.
Yeah, that's the plan. My exit strategy, I didn't say yours. But yeah, I looked at Jorns as a company, it's almost like a pipeline builder for all of us, right? I mean, I know Randy can circle back to a lot of these clients and help them with their financial planning, right? Like, why wouldn't you?
100%.
You know you can add value to those clients. Why wouldn't you do that? And I know if I can help them with business consulting, if I can help them with the SETC, if I can help them with R&D, why wouldn't I? You know, why wouldn't I swing in and help them with other credits that are available, other tax work that's available long-term? And so it's really just a pipeline builder for all of us. And I'm sure some of these clients that we have could benefit from some of the blockchain projects that we're launching that would make their data more secure, make it easier to transact with clients. And so we'll just continue to add value and continue to pay you guys as we add value to your client base, because we do look at it as your clients. Obviously, when they sign an engagement letter, we have a duty to them to perform as an accounting firm. But once we finish our duty, they're your clients. Like, we've done the work, we did everything that was in there, they're still your clients. We look at them like your clients and always will, because I'm on the sales side, so is Mike. Like, even though we are in operations, I brought the first client to the company, you know, so that's my client, and I'm paid differently. I'm paid way more as a sales rep than I am as a COO. Like, it's not even, I mean, it's not even close. Make way more as a sales rep. And so I look at things through your lenses, for sure. So, good. Thanks so much, guys. We do appreciate it, and looking forward to